Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Sunday School Carnivore with myself, George, and John, who is the headmaster of the school, or the principal, as I think you call him in the States. And tonight we have two absolutely fabulous guests, both representing Britain, although you wouldn't think so to hear from some of the one of the accents anyway. So yeah, we've got Mark, who is new to the Sunday School Carnivore. He's actually come from very near Atlanta, Georgia tonight, but I'm absolutely claiming him as a Brit on account of the fact that he holds a British passport and was actually born in England. So, yeah, welcome, Mark. And also we have the lovely Steph, who is representing a truly international field tonight on account of the fact that her heritage is Jamaican, but she was raised in England. She studied in Scotland, and she now lives in Wales. So she's actually done the full tour of Great Britain, shall we say? Because we do have Northern Ireland in the UK as well, but she's got 3 out of 4 of the countries of the UK. So there can be no question at all that she truly represents the UK. So as you all know, I'm George, your 59-year-old carnivore friend, and I live in the town of Bridgewater in Somerset. And I'm very active in the carnivore world at the moment. I've got 3 major projects going on. The first one of which is this one, Sunday School Carnivore, which is a weekly broadcast, as you know, and I'm lucky enough to be the co-host with John. And I also am the driving force. It was my idea to hold the Great British Meetup on August the 2nd, very near the town of Glastonbury, which is famous for its festival. That's very, very busy at the moment. It's keep taking up a lot of my time, and we're doing well. We're into over 100 people now have bought tickets, and we're really looking forward to it. We're going to have a fantastic caterer. The idea behind it is it's not a carnivore conference. It's more of a carnivore party. We are going to have 3 hours of talks in the morning, starting at 10 o'clock, which will finish no later than 2, when we will have a fantastic lunch, which will be a hog roast and a beef roast and a lamb roast. But the rest of the day, including the evening, will be given over to socializing, so that people can actually go around and actually start talking to each other and get to know each other. Because many of us know each other online, but we've yet to physically meet. So it's going to be a really good opportunity to make friendships that are going to last a lifetime and to share our experiences. But not only that, not only the Great British Meetup, not only Sunday School Carnivore, but this week I was inducted onto Dr. Kiltz's first ever certified keto carnivore coaching course. The lovely Ali talked us through how we're going to do it. That was on Wednesday evening. We are 60 strong on that course, 57 of whom are representing the USA, and 3 of us are representing the UK. So we feel somewhat outnumbered. However, what we lack in quantity, we definitely make up for in quality, not myself necessarily. But I think we're going to hear about who else might be the quality on that course, because I'm going to ask Steph to introduce herself now to the world and tell us all about yourself, please, Steph.
Yeah, hello. It's great to be here. Great to see you all. I'm Stephanie Taylor from the UK, as you now know, live in Wales, and delighted to be part of the carnivore community. I saw the light about 2 years ago and went carnivore immediately because it made so much sense to me. And since then, just very, very shortly after that, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 4, which had started years before with fibroids. Won't go into all the details, but except to say that carnivore has really helped my health in the fact that I feel much healthier now than I did even 10 years ago, even after the diagnosis, because of the benefits of carnivore. Thanks, George.
Thank you very much, Steph. But Steph, are you doing anything special as regards college or anything like that at the moment?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am on Dr. Kiltz's certification as well. And so we're really excited to start learning more and delving into the carnivore coaching.
Absolutely. And I should point out that the third person on the course as well is Steph's sister, Nikki. So that completes the 3 of us from the UK on the course. We've yet to get to truly know the people from America, but we had a brief introduction on Wednesday, and we're very much looking forward to it. Talking to people from America, I'm going to ask Mark now to introduce himself. He's all the way from Atlanta, or very near Atlanta. So please, Mark, introduce yourself to the viewers.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity today, George. My name is Mark. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, actually about 50 miles north, up at the base of the mountains. I'm originally born and lived in Europe for 15 years, 11 of those in England. I'm from the Essex area. I tend to look in the mirror a lot to figure out who I am. And so how I would introduce myself right now is, hi, I'm Mark Caldwell. I'm 60 years old and I have heart disease. Right? That's a big deal, right? It's one of those situations where you grow up with a father who's had lots of health issues, maybe genetically, maybe because he didn't take care of himself, maybe a bit of both. He's a wonderful man, still alive today by the miracle of medicine at some level. But this becomes a topic of conversation because I have always known since I was a little kid that I was going to die when I was 64. Why would I think that? Because my grandparents all died before they were 64. My father's had 2 quadruple bypasses, kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, type 2 diabetic since he was 39 years old, you name it, right? And so I wake up some short number of years ago, meaning a couple of years ago, and I weigh 282 pounds. 282.2 pounds. I'm 17.8 pounds away from going for it. I'm going to go for 300 because who gets to say they're 300 pounds, right? And I say that as a joke, to make a point, but it's a look in the mirror and also say, I'm Mark Caldwell. I'm responsible for the consequences of my actions. I'm not a victim, right? And what can I do about this? And so I did something about it. And that's how I found carnivore, is trying to not keep going through the yo-yo dieting over and over and ending up exactly back where I was. Never, always looking for that. When I hit this milestone, I can cheat and then I can figure something else out, right? So this is something that my 2-year mark in carnivore will be marked on August 29th. So I'm less than 2 months away, and I could not be more excited, more enthused, and more intrigued by what I'm learning every day and the people that I'm around. And so thank you for what you guys do, each of you individually and as a group. This is life-changing and life-saving for people like me.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Mark. John, would you care to introduce yourself to the viewers again? I think most of them know you, but we'd like to hear the story again, please.
Hello, I'm John, and I am also I'm going to be 60. We've got 3 60-year-olds here almost. I'm almost 60. George is going to be 60 soon. We look pretty darn good, if you ask me. And I attribute it to my carnivore lifestyle. I became full carnivore about 2.5 years ago, a little more than that. Before that, I was ketovore for 4 years, where I just had a little bit of avocado. I started out keto and progressed to where I am today, realizing that it's the proteins, the fatty acids, the vitamins, the minerals, and not the carbohydrates or the plant toxins that are making me healthy and thrive. So taking out the toxins, which is the plants, and all the ultra processed food, I've never felt younger. I feel 30. I look in the mirror and I see a clearer face, clearer skin. My back doesn't hurt anymore. So many improvements. So like Stephanie, I can't be quiet about it. I can't stop talking about it. It has changed my life. And that's why I have my YouTube channel as well, and why I wrote a book, and why I'm on here with you wonderful people today, because people are out there eventually looking for answers when they are ready. And if we put ourselves out there, they're going to find us. They're going to find the show, whether it's in the replay or they found it live today because I posted it on Facebook, and they're going to hear something, and you never know. I mean, I found it. You all found it, right? And the amazing doctors and nutritionists who are out there giving us the facts and teaching us the truths and dispelling all the myths. We're getting the information because they're out there, and that's why we're out there. So I'm thoroughly excited to do this as many times as I can to let people know the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Mark has introduced the idea of the weight loss into the program, which I think is quite an important part of carnivore, but it's not the most important part of carnivore. because as Dr. Anthony Chaffee says, the most important thing about carnivore is you gain health. You gain health and then you lose the weight. But the weight loss is a sideshow to gaining health. Now, my own story of weight loss actually trumps Mark's, because I was 293 pounds when I started this journey on March the 1st of 2022. So I was only 7 pounds away from the magic 300 pounds mark. Now, I was a type 2 diabetic with very high triglycerides. I was a heart attack in waiting, and I probably would have had that heart attack if it weren't for a wonderful lady nurse called Nurse Kathy Moran, who told me very simply, all carbs are sugar. So I was able to go away, do the research. I threw away the prescriptions that the doctor had just handed me, and I went and healed myself. I went through low carb and keto because I'd never heard of carnivore. And then I discovered carnivore, went carnivore, and I haven't looked back since. So from 293 pounds, type 2 diabetic, this morning I weighed in at 166 pounds. So that's 127 pounds down. That's, interestingly enough, I'm lighter than I was when I was 17, and that is at the age of 60 in just over 6 weeks' time. So it's been a remarkable journey, and I know that Mark has similar, and I believe Stefan has a not dissimilar story as well. But we'll go to Mark first, because he started at 280. Where have you landed, Mark? How have you done?
This morning, so one of the things that Carl and I talked about is I'm a data log nut, right? So I collect logs on everything, and because my father's health issues, I've been testing every morning since 2012. I wake up and I log after I go pee, I log my weight, my blood pressure, and then I poke my finger and take my blood sugar. Not because I'm diabetic, but because I was diagnosed a long time ago with pre-diabetes, and I just always expected it to happen. And so I'm getting around to answering your question, George, is that so I have logs going back, 13 years now, going back every single morning when I do this. So I can go back to any particular day and tell you what it was. This morning I woke up, I weighed 190 pounds. My lowest has been 186. So I found that 190, 191 is where my body now, over a year, I've been sitting 13 months. I've been sitting almost at exactly the same weight. So I think that this is where my body is most comfortable. If I never lost another pound, I would be plenty happy with where I am now. So I weighed 190 pounds this morning. My blood pressure, which I've been on blood pressure medications for, better part of 10 years. I stopped taking those about 18 months ago, was 117 over 73, and my blood sugar was 88. So, and I've been on, I can tell you that's spectacular for me. I mean, I feel like John, I feel extraordinarily healthy. I feel better than I did when I was 30 or 35 years old. And I felt like I was, unstoppable then. So, I'm down right now, sitting at about 13 and a half stone. I was over 20 stone at my worst. Terrible stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's a great story. I'm 20 in British terms, 21 stone down to 11 stone 13 this morning. So I'm very delighted with that. But Steph, without actually wishing to ask you to give away your weight, as one shouldn't ask a lady, I believe you have a fairly spectacular story about dress sizes. Is that, am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, and I've just been calculating the weight, converting it and everything while you were speaking. So I went to a dress size, a UK size 20, and I'm now a UK size 10. So half the sizes, and it possibly doesn't sound as impressive in weight, but it's down from the top weight was just over 14 stones, 196 pounds and 89 kilograms, and now I've lost 50 pounds. I haven't worked out the kilograms. 76, 86, 96, 33 kilograms. No, can't be that. But 50 pounds. I've lost 50 pounds. So it's about 25 kilograms.
That's absolutely fabulous. When we think about John, a quick question for you. How many pounds did you lose on carnivore?
I was about 195, pushing 200 pounds. I'm 5. First, you have to talk about how tall we are so people get a perspective. I was 5 feet 11, 5 feet 10 inches tall, was pushing 200 pounds, not severely obese, but very uncomfortable in my own skin. and I came all the way down to about 160. And then, like Mark said, my body kind of leveled out a little higher, and I average around 166, which is 11 stone, 12 pounds. I had to look that up.
Yeah.
And which is 75.3 kilograms. And that's where I've been for a while. And that's where my body tends to like it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly the same weight as me at the moment.
There you go. So I lost about 35 pounds.
Yeah. So
when I was eating the standard diet.
I'm just doing a sort of quick calculation in my head. Steph's lost 50 pounds. You've lost, say, 30 pounds. So that's 80 pounds. I've lost 127. We'll call it 120. And Mark's lost 100-ish or thereabouts,
90,
I think.
92.
Yes. Yeah. So, well, we'll add on my few in there. So that's 230 between us. Plus 30 from John, 260, plus, so 310 pounds between the four of us here.
And do you all know where that fat goes? I did a video. Where did the fat go? We breathed it out.
Oh, of course, yeah. I did see that. I haven't had a chance. I did see that one today. But to borrow from the great Kerry Mann, that is 31 10-pound 10-pin bowling balls.
Wow.
That we've lost between us. So I was carrying around with me 3 years ago more than 12 10-pin bowling balls. And when you put it into that perspective, it just sees how much pressure we were all putting on our bodies before we actually found carnivore, and how much relief our bodies have shown, because we haven't just lost the weight. We've healed so much. All my skin conditions are gone. I had really bad boils. I had terrible athlete's foot and that sort of thing. I had migraines. I had joint pain, fibromyalgia, and it's all gone. It's all absolutely just disappeared. But there's one thing I'd like to bring in is, obviously, we've changed. All of us have changed considerably since we started carnivore, physically and mentally. But I'm going to ask you about sort of the physical story. Do people still recognize you? Do people when you haven't seen people for a while, what's their reaction? Because I had a great story which I told Steph on her channel, that I did a course with a young lady back in 2018, and I didn't see her again until 2024, last year. And we were good friends on the course, but when I saw her, because we were work colleagues, I went up and said, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you for a long time." And she kind of took back and said, "Who the hell are you?" And I said, "Well, it's George from the course." And she looked me up and down and said, "What the hell happened to you?" So she just didn't recognize me. And it's a great story. It's a great feeling to actually not to be recognized, to be perfectly honest with you, because we were all start off very ill. So has anybody else got another story about the shock and the reaction? Maybe family, maybe friends, business associates, people you haven't seen for a while. Has anybody else had any fun with that scenario?
I don't think anyone's noticed me at all. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on, Mark.
It's fine, George. On that note, my nan over in Braintree. I mean, I used to come over to the UK 2 or 3 times a year until COVID. Now I go about maybe once a year. And every time I've seen her for the last 3 or 4 decades, she's always made a comment about my weight, about how heavy I am. And not in a negative way, just that I was a skinny kid, super skinny kid, and I was a swimmer in high school. So it was just one of those things. And the last time I saw her, she said, "Where did you go?" And it was so heartwarming, because I can tell you a different reaction I've had from a number of people is, "Are you okay?" Because the weight loss was so quick. And I want to make one other point, though. You mentioned that I had brought up weight. That is not the most important thing to me. The weight is just a byproduct of this. I can tell you the high blood pressure, the fact that, and maybe we'll talk about this later, I have heart disease. I have a coronary artery calcium score of 343. That came up a couple of years ago. That is the first time I had a non-zero number. That is not good, right? So that means I have calcium in my heart. So I can sit here and tell you, not that I may get heart disease. I have heart disease, right? So this is life-saving, not life-changing. This is life-saving for me. And so it was the constant issues with gout and the kidney stones that were brutal. And by the way, I tell my wife all the time, I'm a husband of 1, a father of 3, and a grandfather of 4. I tell my wife all the time, the kidney stones are worse than birth and giving birth. It's like wrapping a bowling ball, wrapping in a barbed wire and trying to shove that thing through your pee-pee. It's not fun. And I've had a lot of those, right? 9 times, right? So all that's gone away. All that's gone away. And it is truly amazing. I can honestly say to you now that if I were to pass away early, I would not trade the length of life with the quality of life I have now. I am not looking to be sick for a long time. I love where this is taking me. But to answer your question directly, yes, I have loads of reactions and are all very positive, except for the people that start off with, I haven't, it's such a dramatic difference. I keep this with me all the time, right? That's me 2 years. That's 2 years ago.
Wow.
Right? So it's a dramatic change, and outside of, hey, are you okay? It's, what are you doing? Tell me about this.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, I've just noticed that John has kindly put up my wife's comment about the fact that we are going to be going shopping in Glastonbury before too very long. Glastonbury is a great place for buying hippie type stuff. Actually, it's the hippie centre in this country. Steph, I know, knows it well and has some very fond memories of Glastonbury. So yeah, as Lainey says, I will be. I'm a bit fitter now, so I'll be able to carry her shopping. Steph will remember, Glastonbury has a very steep high street, so it does take a bit of effort to walk up it. And of course, we had the famous Glastonbury tour there as well. But I really, I think I should actually flag up this question before we move on to Lainey's story. And we have the Primal Lifestyle, who is a great friend of mine and Steph's, called Carl. He is the Mr. Sensible when it comes to organising the meetup. He's holding onto the purse strings, and the more we try and spend the money, the more the tighter he holds onto it. That's not being fair, actually. But the question is, as Mark is coming all the way to the meetup, what do you hope you'll get from it? So that's a question for you, Mark. So let's find out.
I'm coming for the free food. No, it's interesting. Where I live, very few people seem to even know about carnivore, and I'm not sure if that's true everywhere. But I can tell you that even my physicians, except for one physician that it's actually my primary care physician. It's a woman. Her husband's carnivore, which I thought was very interesting. But for the most part, this is, for me, is to be around people that are like thinking. To hear people talk about this thing that I'm so passionate about, I have to go to YouTube, which is not a bad thing. But at the end of the day, I want to be around people who are thinking and talking. I'm so hungry for knowledge right now, and there's so much information. And so it's really just testing those ideas that I have against other people that are in the process of going through their journey, comparing my journey, just sharing my journey. So that's what I'm hoping to get. And quite frankly, you never have to twist my arm to come back home. So I'm thrilled to get over.
That's great news, because you will get to meet you will get to meet Carl. You'll get to meet Steph. You'll get to meet myself. So it's and we have probably over another 100 plus carnivores who have already committed to coming. So it's going to be quite a carnival gathering, to say the very least. So we're talking about Glastonbury and my wife Lainey, and I should point out actually that Lainey and Steph are sisters in cancer. For my wife Lainey has her own cancer journey. She was diagnosed in September of 22 with breast cancer, and she's been through the full gamut of poison, cut, burn. She went through the chemotherapy, had the mastectomy, and the radiation therapy afterwards. Now, we were hoping that would kind of put a line under it, but unfortunately, the biopsy of the tissue from the mastectomy showed that she was suffering from something called Paget's nipple disease. Now, that is a pre-indicator of a metastatic bone cancer called Paget's bone cancer. So she's on a much longer term treatment than we were hoping. So she's now on oral chemotherapy twice a day. She had 18 lymph nodes removed, so she's permanently in a sleeve. And also she's having to have bone infusion, which is intravenous bisphosphonates. Now, that unfortunately has a very rare side effect, which is osteonecrosis of the jaw, which is the death of the jaw, basically. And it means that her jaw is dying and she will eventually lose all her teeth. Now, she should technically be on her back, unable, basically not be able to do things, but she's carnivore. Well, very close to carnivore anyway. Getting closer all the time because she watched Stephanie's interview with Carl, I think 2 days ago. And she said, yes, Stephanie has inspired me to go basically full carnivore. So she's going to go down the carnivore route, but her energy levels are amazing. She's like a domestic whirlwind around this house. Her warrior spirit is there, and she will not let it get to her. She will be at the meetup on the August 2nd. She will be organising the raffle. She will be doing all the sales skills of the raffle. So yeah, as I say, Lainey and Steph are sisters in cancer. They will both be there. So if anybody else, if anybody's got any questions about cancer and they're coming, then we do have it. We do have the cancer side of things covered, as we have this type 2 diabetes side of things covered, because I was a type 2 diabetic. So it's going to be great to have such a lot of people there who have been through the hoop, and we're all going to share our stories together. So yeah, thanks for that question, John. Have we got anybody else online, or have you got anything you would like to bring up yourself as the head teacher or the principal?
What do you call me? The what master do they call it in Britain?
We're the headmaster in Britain.
Headmaster. We're the principal here. No, I'm looking through the wonderful comments here of our viewers. I don't see any other questions. I did have a thought about Dr. Thomas Seyfried. I don't know if you've heard of him. He is a doctor, the cancer specialist, talks about how cancer is a metabolic disease. It's not genetic, and cancer thrives on glucose. And then the second fuel that it mostly chooses is glutamine, which we have to have. And he talks about pulsing glutamine with certain drugs. So for your wife and for Stephanie, I'm sure you've heard of this gentleman. If anybody who's listening, I'm going to type his name in the comments. Look up Dr. Thomas Seyfried about metabolic health with cancer. And that is the wonderful path that we, as carnivores, cancer needs fuel, and we're depriving it of the fuel when we're going carnivore. I
can tell that Stephanie is desperate to jump in here, because not only does she know about Thomas Seyfried and the glucose and glutamine, but she's actually met Thomas Seyfried.
Oh, you have. That's right.
And I have a photograph of Steph. Steph, do you want to tell us about the glucose and the glutamine and your experience with Thomas Seyfried?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was such it gives you so much hope when you see somebody say, actually, there's something you can do about this. And there's actually a lot of research on it. And for my specific type of cancer as well, it has less written about it and less research. But the research that there was research about the impact of diet on ovarian cancer. And yes, I met him at the public health collaboration. Was it a few months ago now? And he is an incredible guy. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's still very fit, nimble, and he's got such verve and such passion for this topic. And he's funny as well. He's incredibly funny and humble. And so, yes, he's brought hope to so many people. And more than that, it's practical steps that you can take to really improve your health status, such that I'm so proud that when I go in there now, the ones who don't know me yet are often confused. Like they'll be looking around the waiting room and saying, one time I was there on my own and they were confused, kept coming in with the clipboard and then going back out and then coming back. Says, "Oh, are you Stephanie Taylor?" And then being very shocked that it is me. Because according to what's written on this sheet and what my diagnosis is, I shouldn't be in such good health, apparently. And I do travel, and I happen to mention when they sometimes call you up to see how you're getting on. And I happen to mention, oh, yes, I've just come back from Italy or wherever it was. And she says, "Oh, you're traveling?" I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Oh, you're not supposed to travel just in case you get an infection or catch something. Your immunity is supposed to be lower while you're on chemotherapy." And I said, if my time is being cut short, I'm making sure I've been everywhere and done everything and doing everything. I'm not slowing down. In fact, I'm speeding up. because I had thought that, in retirement, I would love to go and live in Italy, or certainly spend a lot more time there, especially through the winter. The winters are quite brutal here now in the UK. It's freezing. And then I thought, bring it forward. Why wait until you retire? Why not do it now? So that's my experience of Thomas Seyfried and George Chair. When there's a space, I would love to ask a question.
Yes, you carry on. You continue, please, Steph.
Well, I think there is a moment for many of us when the scales come away from our eyes and we see the light. And you mentioned, George, a phrase that so many people, it's such a basic thing, but so many of us don't know. All carbohydrates are sugar. And when we look at a packet, so many people say, oh, carbohydrates is separated from sugar on the label. But all carbohydrates are sugar. Whatever it says for carbohydrate is sugar. And that was the moment that everything changed for you. And
It was.
I was wondering, for everybody else and for people watching, what was the moment, the phrase, or the new information that you found out that changed everything for you and said, right, I'm going keto, or I'm going carnivore?
Yeah, that's a good point. As I say, for me, it was Nurse Catherine Moran with the 4 words, all carbs are sugar. Interestingly enough, Steph, I was reading the reading homework we got, and all carbs are sugar. Those 4 words appeared in the headline in that as well. So it's quite a famous phrase. But yeah, that's a good point. Has anybody got any good stories, Mark or John, that you can elaborate on? What was the light bulb moment, I suppose you might say?
I had a moment when I learned what sugar was. What is sugar? What is the molecular structure of sugar? I mean, isn't honey, like, aren't there good sugars and bad sugars and better sugars? And I learned that sugar is sugar. It's glucose and fructose. All right. And then in milk, there's galactose and glucose, which makes lactose. I mean, when you learn the fact that starch, carbs, are just a long string of glucose molecules, and the enzymes in your mouth and your stomach break the bonds, and you have sugar. So carbs are absolutely sugar. Bread is sugar. Rice is sugar. Pasta is sugar. It's all potatoes turns into sugar. And most people don't know that. You tell them that, and you see this fog in front of their face. Like, what are you talking about? And they think I'm making something up, like it's a conspiracy theory. And it's not. It's just very factual, that it's sugar. So, and that was, when I first started. Big epiphany. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So I think some of you know my recent story. I've been in this space for 3 years and 4 months, but for 3 years of those, I carried on drinking alcohol. I gave up alcohol 4 months ago, and my energy levels had gone through the roof. It didn't actually affect my liver too badly, because my liver function tests were okay on alcohol. But I'd like to discuss this because I know Mark has a good alcohol story, because both Mark and myself used to be great fans of wine in our day, red and white, I believe. So Mark, I think you gave up alcohol back on. Do you want to tell the story of yourself and your love of wine, but how you managed to come away from it?
I don't want to, but I will. So first, I'm 5'13", right? 6'1". So that explains why maybe I weigh a little bit more too. I was one of those really goody two-shoes kids that never drank alcohol when I was a teenager until I got to university. I went to University of Michigan. I came to the States to go to university, so I just never went back. I got introduced to alcohol in my second year of college, and I never stopped. I thought that was the best tasting thing I'd ever had in my entire life. I convinced myself through the drinking over the years. I don't mean a little. I mean pretty fairly heavily. I now describe myself as a very high functioning, non-physical alcoholic. I can tell you that multiple times I would trick myself through the years and say, I'm just going to stop drinking for a month to prove to myself I'm not an alcoholic. But so I never had the withdrawals or anything like that, but I also have very much a light switch personality. I either do something or I don't. I don't. Moderation is not a word in my vocabulary. I don't play with things. I do it or I don't. To the point where I decided that, hey, when I retired, and I was going to retire early, and why was I going to retire early? Because if you heard what I said earlier, I was going to die when I was 64, so I can't wait till I'm 65 to retire. So I had to put my whole career on, fast track and get done early. And I did. And I decided that when I retired, I was going to take the time to get in shape and get back to them. And it turned about exactly the opposite, right? So I retired April 26th of 2017. And what turned out to be drinking wine every night, and when I say a little, more than a little, turned into, for the last year before I started the carnivore diet, I was polishing off 3 bottles of white wine per day, 7 days a week, every single day, and not having a headache when I woke up. So on August 28th of 2023, I bought a case of wine, right? 12 bottles. And I would think about it in terms of days of wine. That case was 4 days, right? So I'm a Costco nut, so I go to Costco multiple times a week, because it got to be embarrassing literally when you'd be checking out and buying 2 cases of wine. They're like, what are you guys having, a party? I'm like, well, no, this is me for the week, literally. Okay, this is oversharing, George, and it's the point is, if somebody's watching and says, "Oh my God, that feels way too close to home," it wasn't pretty, right? My wife doesn't drink alcohol, so it had to be fun for her to watch this for 36 years, right? So, anyways, my point being is, when I decided to go carnivore, and that was because the aha moment was when I decided I was absolutely on the right path, never going back, is when Dr. Gibson looked at me and said, I hate to tell you this, but you now have heart disease, right? So that's where it comes. That's the aha moment, right? I've watched Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, and I made a change, but when he followed that and said, I want you on an all plant diet, no exceptions, another aha moment. Like, a lot of things can happen, and that's not one of them. So when I went carnivore, it was the day after I bought the case of wine, I woke up in the morning and said, no more, I'm done. I don't care. Normally, you decide, hey, when I finish the beer in the fridge, or I finish the wine in the wine fridge, then I'll start, right? It was there's 9 bottles still sitting there. They're going to stay there, and they're still there at the house, right? I'm about 150 meters away from the house. And the bottles are still there in the wine fridge. Not tempted. Don't even think about it. That, by the way, is the number one question I get. Besides, what about your cholesterol? When I tell someone I'm doing what I'm doing is, I'm eating lots of protein and fat, is can you still drink alcohol? And I say no, right? I'm not the carnivore police, but at the end of the day, alcohol for the most part is sugar. Right. So absolutely. Especially wine, Yeah,
it's very true. Yeah. It's the best practice for optimal health is to stay away from the alcohol. Definitely. Steph, I know that you went to university in Edinburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
Did you experience much of the partying of the Scottish people in Edinburgh, and how did you cope with the alcohol side of things?
At the border, you're checked, and you have to pass a drinking test to get into Scotland. That's the law. And so I caught on very quickly and became very good at it. And so all of the socials would revolve around drinks. So before you go out, you'd have a few drinks. While you're out having dinner, you'd have a few bottles of wine, sadly. Rare would it be that I would get through even a lunch without more than 1 bottle. Obviously, there are other people there apart from myself, but even so. And then afterwards, you would then continue on from there. So there was a lot of drinking, a lot of wine, and I was also partial to a gin and tonic as well. But over the years, the effect of it at the beginning, when you're a bit shyer, it sort of becomes a thing that you do, and then you're in the habit, and then you like the taste, and then it's something to relax, it's something to unwind, it's a treat. And over time, the impact, I was like, I think Mark said this, I didn't really get hungover. Slightly, but I could still get on my bike. We would do these long bike rides the following day, and I could still carry on. But over time, when I got a bit older, into my 40s and then 50s, the impact wasn't so good. And so I decided I was drinking a little bit more in the lockdown, and then there was no social. So it was stark, and you would sort of go back to get another glass and realize, oh my goodness, the bottle's empty. Who's drunk all this wine?
That was me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, and it was shocking, and I just thought, you know what, give up the wine, which I did do for a while, and then when we opened back up again, I started again, but only socially, and realized I didn't enjoy it as much. It didn't feel good while I was drinking it. It didn't feel good after I was drinking it. So I thought, why are you actually drinking it? And I just decided to stop drinking. And I heard somebody say on a show talking about giving up drinking, they said, I've had enough to drink. I've had my drinks, and that's how I feel. I've drunk everything and anything and everything I wanted to over the years. I've had enough. And so I don't miss the alcohol, and I can have alcohol at home, which I've got a stash from a previous little gathering, and I don't drink it. And it's not a problem for me. Whereas I would still struggle with certain foods to have them in my home. That would be a challenge for me. Whereas I found the drinking so much easier to give up than some of the foods.
Absolutely. Yeah, my relationship with alcohol is very similar to both Steph's and Mark's, because I was a wine addict as well. And I used to drink it by the bottle every day, probably 2 bottles a day, sometimes 3 if it was a long day, especially during lockdown, as Steph mentioned. She just reminded me of the fact that we have a weekly recycling collection in Britain, from a street collection, in other words. And I think just about the noisiest part of the week was when our recycling bin got emptied into the lorry, because you could hear all the bottles from the week going in there, and it was okay. There goes our recycling again. It's woken up the whole neighbourhood. But John, I think you were sort of fortunate enough never to actually fall into the alcohol trap. Even though you've got an Italian heritage, which is all about wine, but I think you got away with it, if I'm right.
Well, my body is the way it is. I never liked it. Through peer pressure in college, I was going to drink because everybody talked about how great it was and the parties. And every time I would have a drink, I got an instant headache. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? Everybody's loving this, and I don't like it. And I don't feel well when I drink. So for me, it's a no-brainer not to drink. It's easy. To me, the poison feels like a poison. But I have a lot of friends that just love it so much, and it's hard for them to abstain. It's definitely hard. So that I don't understand, because I don't feel that way about alcohol. Yeah.
Lucky you.
But one of the great news about the human body is it's incredibly resilient, because all of us here, apart from yourself, John, we've all insulted the liver quite badly. And yet the liver is an incredible organ. It can you leave it alone, you rest it, especially take away the alcohol and the fructose, and it repairs itself. The visceral fat disappears, and it renews itself. We are an incredible organism. So it's never too late to start. You can always make massive improvements. And the other thing I want to pick up, actually, that Mark said earlier, is about the kidney stones. I'm very, very fortunate. I've never had a kidney stone. But I think, and I know that John did a fantastic series on plant toxins back on, which I've got up my sleeve for when we come on to the plant toxins on the course. And I know that oxalates is one of them, because kidney stones are calcium oxalates. Oxalates they come from plants, and they are very small crystalline structures, and they combine with calcium in the blood. They solidify in the kidneys, and that is how you get kidney stones. So a lot of the time when we're talking about plants, we're talking about carbohydrates and sugars, but there are other plant toxins as well, and oxalates are being one of them. And thankfully, I've never had kidney stones. So, Mark, since you've gone carnivore, has the kidney stones ever come back?
Not
Have
one.
you still got the problem? Not one. Okay.
Not one. I can tell you this, from if you've ever had a kidney stone, the first one was the scariest. It was a trip that I made to the Bahamas, actually, and I'll make this quick. I was in the Bahamas with my wife and 3 children, and the first one came on. I had no idea what it was. I just had this massive pain on my back that took me down to the ground, and I spent the next 2 days laying on the bathroom floor because it was cold. And my son kept coming in to say, "Dad, are you okay?" And my wife kept telling me, "We need to get you to a hospital." And I wasn't about to go to a Bahamian hospital because I didn't know what that really meant. Right. So I toughed through it, and I passed that thing after 2.5 days. And then all of a sudden it was like it never happened. But one thing I learned from that experience, besides the pure fear and panic, was I knew what it felt like when those were coming on. So I would know at the moment that tingling started, I went, "Oh gosh, oh no, oh no." And that happened to me 9 times. So I can tell you that I started getting them a couple of times a year. And now over the last 2 years, I haven't had it once. To me, that's a miracle in and of itself. That would keep me on the straight and narrow, if nothing else, just because of the pain that causes. And I'll share this. I was in the second or third one that I had, maybe it was the fourth, I don't know. I was in the emergency room, and they brought me back, and the doctor was just not very attentive at all to me. Just didn't, almost like he didn't care. And they took x-rays. And as soon as he put the x-ray up on that little light screen to see through it, he yelled at the nurse. He says, "Get him some pain meds now." And I'm like, why now? He says, "Do you understand?" He says, 95% of the people that come in with kidney stones are doing this to get pain meds. No, that's not real. He says they fake those things. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine. But as soon as he saw it, he knew exactly what that meant. So my point is, again, yeah, you don't want those. And plants, I chalk all of that up to plants. When Anthony Chafee says plants are trying to kill you, they were trying to kill me. I just didn't give in so easily. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. John, I think you've had a kidney stone. Does that ring any bells with you?
I only had one. He said 9. I'm like, oh my God. Because one, I went through hell with one. Yeah. Severe, exactly like him. You are on the floor. And I went and had the CAT scan. They saw that it had passed through the nephrons of the kidney, and it was in the ureter now, going to the bladder. And that's when it was scraping and ripping and gouging. And they gave me pain medicine and another drug that helped force it along. I had to pass it like he did. And they gave me, I passed it and I collected it. I did a video on my YouTube channel, and I hold it up and I show it in the camera. I said, this came out of me. And it is like, I don't know what it's like to deliver a baby, but it's got to be that or worse. The pain is excruciating. And mine was a calcium oxalate kidney stone. There are other kinds of kidney stones, but the calcium oxalate is the most common. And mine was from almond flour, almonds, dark chocolate, tea, black pepper, a lot of spinach when I was doing keto and before that. So, now I don't do it. Now, people that go carnivore, we need to say this now, if people are listening. When you go carnivore and you stop all of the oxalates, all of a sudden your body says, okay, let's mobilize this stuff and get it out of the body. And a lot of times when people go carnivore, that's when they get the kidney stones or eye problems or joint problems, because now the body is excreting it in large amounts. So I'm glad you don't have a 10th one, Mark. Hopefully you got rid of all of yours. I'm still dumping very slowly, not through my kidneys, but through every 3 months, I get mild aches and pains in my joints. And I know what that is. It's oxalates leaving the body. I'm almost done, but it's many, many years. We all have them if we've been eating the standard world diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, George, let me share this real quick. John, it's funny when you talk about passing it and showing it to the camera. You reminded me in 2007, my granddad in Braintree passed away. And so my mother, Britt, she lives up in Philadelphia. So we were both going over for his funeral. And so I flew her down from Philadelphia to Atlanta, both going over British Airways over to Heathrow. And I was at the house here when she was going to the airport, and the kidney stones started coming on. Now think about this, like 4 or 5 hours from that point, maybe 6 hours from the time I started feeling it, I'm going to be on an airplane. And one of the things, George, you can't imagine is you don't sit down, right? You sit down, you get back up, you pace around, you sit back down, you get back up.
What I did.
And by the way, to give you an idea what this thing looks like, mine have all been about the size of a piece of rice, which will take you down like nothing. And it looks like it's made out of lava rock, and it's sharp, and it drags its way through with an anchor on it. And so here's my very, very quickly, George, I'll tell you that my mother flew down. She knew, I told her beforehand, I said, this is going to be a brutal flight, and that I've got a kidney stone coming on. She's like, how do you know? I'm like, you know it. Right. So she gets down. We were at the airport. I'm pacing before we were getting on the airplane. We were in the Delta Sky Club, the British Airways Club here at Atlanta. And I passed that stone in the bathroom. I was so excited. I reached my hand into the blue dyed water and grabbed it so I could go out and show my mother this thing that came out of me, because it's like it never happened. Once it comes out, it's like instant relief. And it was the best flight ever for the worst reason ever. So,
oh, amazing.
Amazing. That'll keep you sober.
Yeah, we certainly will.
Actually, I drank a lot of wine on the airplane, so that was good too.
There you go. Yeah, so I was going to say that I'm 3 years and 4 months in now, and I've suddenly realised that back at the beginning of May, I went for a long walk with my friend Ziggy, the carnivore camper. It's on YouTube, and I noticed that day that I had a strange discomfort in the middle joint of the fourth toe on my left foot. And I can't understand it, because I had no trauma, I had no injury or anything, and it's still there, but it's kind of only in the mornings. It's discomfort. It doesn't stop me from doing anything, but it's a bit like, oh, ow, oh, oh, for a little while. And I strongly suspect that might be oxalate dumping, to be honest with you, because it's not severe, it's not gout or anything like that, and it's not a broken toe. But I am an ideal candidate after 3 years and 4 months, so in fact 3 years and 2 months it was back then, to be the victim of oxalate dumping. How do I know this? Because I've watched quite a lot of Sally K. Norton. Now, Sally is the expert when it comes to oxalates. So if anybody out there is unfamiliar with oxalates, if anybody's got any strange aches and pains having done carnivore for a while, I can highly recommend that you go and look up Sally K. Norton on YouTube, because she will give a much better explanation than I can possibly of how oxalates work and how oxalate dumping works. So yeah, I can highly recommend her. I can also tell you that other plant toxins, thanks to John, include saponins, lectins, phytosterols, goitrogens. The list is quite long, and John has done an excellent series of shorts on them, which you will find back on his channel, The Carnivore Teacher. Anyway, once again, the time has really rolled past, and it's at this point of the show that John and myself like to give everybody a chance to say, how can we actually get in contact with you? How can our viewers follow this up and get in contact with you? So, ladies first, I think, and this particularly sexy lady, shall we say, I believe has a YouTube channel. Is that right, Steph?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's a very baby YouTube channel, so give it some love. It's called Happy Sexy Health. And so I'm on YouTube and Insta and all the other places. But if we have any UK carnivores watching, then we also have a Facebook group. Oh dear, I need to look this up. It's called, isn't it? It's called the Metabolic Health UK Event Hub. And it's so that UK carnivores can find out all about any events that are coming up. So I'm at Happy Sexy Health and also the Metabolic Health UK Facebook group. Thanks, George.
Absolutely, no problems. And also, I believe that you run a group which is called the Reset Challenge.
Oh, yes.
You wanted to talk about the Reset Challenge?
Thank you. We do a 21-day primal body reset, and we help people to get started with a carnivore-like diet. Some people go full carnivore, and some people keep a little bit of veg because they can't bear to let them all go. But we get such great results, even in that very short time period of 21 days. It's one of the most exciting things that I've ever done.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Mark, I know back in your professional days, you were a great public speaker. I've seen one or two of the videos that you had when you were back in business. But nowadays, are you interested in maybe starting a YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel? I know I can contact you on Facebook, but please tell us how people can get in contact with you.
I actually don't know. I have not even considered that, hadn't thought about it. Again, as I think I said in the beginning, maybe even before we started taping, that I haven't really considered my story or my journey as anything special. It's just it's a journey, and it's something special to me. So I haven't really thought about doing anything bigger than that. I can tell you that I've made a great friendship with Carl Day, the Primal Lifestyle. So he's somebody that I keep in touch with quite a bit. So that would be one way to reach me, although I'd hate to do that to Carl. But and I think this may be a topic I can explore a little bit here a month from now when we meet up outside of London.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea, because I think you'd be ideal for a YouTube channel, because you are very inspirational, a very inspirational speaker in business and also in the carnivore world. So please consider it. We need the more people we have out there, the better, really. And John, would you like to tell us about the Carnivore Teacher? I'm sure you're anxious to do so.
Sure. First, Mark, I want to encourage you too, because you have the gift of gab. And there's a lot of we need you, and the community can use you and your skill for talking, which is not easy to do for a lot of people to get your words together. I know when I make my videos, I delete all the ums and uhs. If anybody watches my videos, there's a lot of gaps in there, because I'm like a little bit of a perfectionist, and you sound really smooth. I'm the Carnivore Teacher, or Carnivore Teacher 1965 on YouTube, and then I take that video that I put out every day, a little teaching video every day, and I send it to Facebook, Threads, X, Instagram, a couple of other places, so that I can hit all the markets. I have different people looking at them from different markets, and I'm reaching a lot of people. Been doing this for a while. I wrote a few articles, and I decided, let me try my hand at a book. So I published my first book. It's just this little paperback book called The Carnivore Teacher, and I also recorded it here with my microphone in my studio. I recorded the Audible. So on Amazon and Audible, you can get that book. Steph listened to the whole thing and gave me a really nice review, and I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm out there paying it forward, because someone was out there for me. So many people were out there for me, so many doctors and nutritionists that I still watch and listen to. So now I just throw myself in there. I'm one of the drops in the ocean, I know, but I need to be out there for other people too, because I have so much to share about how this has healed me and so many other people. And stories are the best. So tell your story for sure. And you can find me, where I told you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for myself, my name is George Goodenough. I have a channel by my own name, because everybody seems to remember my name for some reason. It's George Goodenough 823. It is a tiny channel, and it is. I really don't post as much as I should do, but I'm very busy at the moment. I post about once a week, and it's usually a news update, especially about the meetup and what's happening in carnivore and various other things. I told my alcohol story on there, the full details of it. So if anybody wants to go and have a quick look at the what's going on in the meetup and a bit of history of myself, you can find me there. I'm also on Facebook. I think I'm friends with everybody on this group on Facebook, and I'm also on WhatsApp. We have a wonderful little chat group in the UK called I think it's called Carnivore's UK Chat or something like that. Stephanie's on it, and I think we've got about 35 carnivores from around the UK, and we have a laugh, as well as we don't just talk about serious stuff about the health issues and about how good a carnivore we are. We talk about holidays. We certainly take the mickey out of each other quite a lot as well. There's a lot of banter on there. One poor lady today has been suffering the gastric problems, and sort of saying, don't stray too far from the toilet today, will you? And the little jokes like that. So yeah, and of course the one place you are guaranteed to find me, and the one place where I will be a captive audience, is at the Great British Meetup on August the 2nd at Sourdown Farm near the town of Glastonbury in Somerset. You can contact myself or Steph or Mark, because we're all going. And we can point you in the direction of getting tickets if you want to come. The caterer is going to be fantastic. The day is going to be fantastic. We're going to dance the night away, because we've got a disco sorted out. I've promised not to dance with Steph, so I don't want to tread on her toes. She's hoping to find somebody a lot younger and a lot better looking than me to actually dance with, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, so we're coming to the very end of this evening, and as usual, I am only the assistant headmaster, so I'm going to hand you back to the principal of this particular school, which is John, to wind up the proceedings for this evening, John.
All right. You are equal. You are my co-host, and you're actually those of you watching. You guys are going to be on next Sunday. I won't be able to join you, but I think Stephanie, you're going to be the headmaster. Yes, and the principal. So, folks, if you found this helpful and you're on YouTube watching it, click the like and the subscribe button. Go to Stephanie's channel, Happy, Sexy, Healthy. Oh God, I said it wrong. What is it? Happy, Sexy Health. Go to George Goodenough. Mark's going to start a channel, we hope, because he's very articulate. Yeah. And check out Dr. Chafee, Dr. Berry. Check out these wonderful influencers while you're there and learn. It's all about learning and application to your life to make your life healthier. And it's free. YouTube. All you need is your internet connection, right? So hope to see you. You guys will be there next Sunday. I'll try to peek in from where I am and to watch you, even though I won't be with you.
Yeah. And before we finish, John, the four of us will just stay on for a little bit of an after show, after action review.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stay on here before I end it. All right. Let's wave goodbye. Thank you, viewers. Thanks for your comments and your questions. Take care.